All right, hey guys, what's going on? Needs more drums back in Grand Keys for the next episode of our City Skylines 2 vanilla series. And first things first, as always, sorry if you can hear my heat in the background. I live in an old building. We have really old radiator heat, and it's especially cold today. And our boiler was actually broken last night and this morning, so it's finally fixed. So the heat's kind of playing catch up. I think the high today was 12, and when I woke up this morning, it felt like -4 Fahrenheit. So not a great start to the morning, but the day's about to get a lot better because we are going to do a ton in this build, hopefully. And so, as you just saw on the screen, there's one thing that I want to take care of today. But before we do that, thank you guys so much for your feedback on the city names. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the results right now. And the first thing we're going to do is actually name some of these parts of the city finally. I've been really putting that off on naming, and creating and naming districts. So I'm really excited to finally do that. I actually haven't really done that in this game too much yet, to be honest. So let me go ahead and pull up the results and we will get started with that. So I got to say, I was a little surprised with the results. It was actually a tie between Groovesville and Percussiona. So if you remember, if you were around back in the City Skylines 1 days, which I still need to go back to that and finish my Brzezinski series. I know, I'm sorry. I've just been really enjoying City Skylines too. But my first ever YouTube series, well, in City Skylines, was a series called Percussion. It was like a drum themed, all the names to do with percussion and music. And it was on a map called Costa Azura, and I got tons of requests to bring it back, throughout like the past couple years, but unfortunately I just don't think I'm going to be able to do that. If I ever jump back into that map, it's going to be a brand new build, just because all of the mods that I used for that build most of them are probably outdated. I remember I tried to open the save one time and I got a bunch of errors, and I just didn't really feel like plus I wasn't really happy with how the city was developing. I just felt like it was very early on when I started doing the channel, and I realized that I wasn't as familiar with the game as I would have liked to have been when I built that city, and I learned a lot from that build and other builds and everything. And so now if I did go back, like I said, and attempt that again, attempt a second kind of City Skylines 1 Costa Azura build, because I really did love that map, it would be with a fresh set of eyes and just a clean slate, and using kind of everything that I've learned over the past couple years doing this. So yeah, sorry, but that was so the name Percussiona is kind of a throwback to Percussion, and same with Simbaliana. Simbaliana was the first City Skylines 2 city that I built, and it only lasted about 10 episodes or so, and then there were a lot of crashes with the game, and again, I just didn't really like how it was turning out. I was still kind of learning the game, and just was not happy with the build at all. So I don't anticipate any of those coming back anytime soon, but the least we could do is kind of pay some homage to those builds via some city names in this city. So I think even though it was a tie between Percussiona and Groovesville, I think I'm going to go with Percussiona for this city, just because it's kind of the premier city that I actually am happy with in City Skylines 2, and it's a nice nod to the City Skylines 1 days in my first build. And I think Groovesville, I love the name Groovesville, and I'm glad that you guys like it too. And so I think that's going to be definitely in this build somewhere. I don't know where yet, but we're definitely going to have a Groovesville somewhere. I do imagine some second and third cities popping up. This is a huge map. If you just actually take a second and zoom out, you can see we have like this whole area here is just begging to have a city. It's really flat actually, and would be a really cool spot for something. Same with like even across the bay here. Over here is even a pretty sizable area. I mean, and especially over here, look at this right here. This is really just calling our name to build something pretty substantial over here. So yeah, I don't anticipate this. This I think is going to be one of my long running City Skylines 2 series. I'd like to really expand this whole region and kind of learn the game as it grows. Keep it vanilla, keep it very simple, and just kind of having fun and seeing how new features get implemented and everything. And so far I'm really liking that. So anyway, what we're gonna do, create some districts here. I want this whole, I think this road is kind of going to be the divider for downtown Percussiona, and I think it's going to go probably through We'll bring it, I think, through here. And then this neighborhood is kind of off on its own, but I think that's going to be okay. I think I'll loop this neighborhood maybe in. Nah, actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do something like this here. All right, so the reason that I've divided it up this way, as you could see, is I originally thought this would be part of East Percussiona right here, but I actually like this being part of Percussiona Harbor because it kind of reminds me of like where I grew up. I talk about this a lot, and there's an area that a lot of people call the Harbor, and it's you know, this neighborhood called East Chicago, and there's a special area of East Chicago that was close to kind of some major industry. And, you know, now people kind of refer to it as the harbor. You know, back in the day, that's kind of what people called it. And so I think, you know, of this neighborhood kind of having more of a tie to this industrial area than actually to like this central part of the city. You know, I figured like this is going to be a lot of where these workers live. You know, there's some more affordable row housing and stuff here for some of these blue collar jobs in this area. And, you know, eventually the plan is to, especially over here, you know, this part of the city might see kind of a second life. As you know, this industry is going to stay. I assume with the recycling center and stuff being here, and same with some of this. But some of this might get kind of, you know, redeveloped over the years. And so I imagine that, you know, Percussiona Harbor has a very industrial past, but may not be so much an industrial future. So we'll have to wait and see how this city develops. But in terms of actual builds for today, so this whole area is going to be West Percussiona. But I didn't want to make the district yet because it's actually not fully built yet. So that's going to be one of the things that we really focus on today, is actually getting some more of this area kind of built out. And I might be getting a little bit ambitious here, but if time permits, I may even purchase another one of these tiles and build out a whole nother town over here. So the plan for this area, I had some interesting thoughts kind of over the past week or so as I was kind of looking at this area. You know, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with it. And I think I've had a kind of a cool idea here. So I think what's going to happen, this was all industry at one point. And so if you look actually at some zones, it's still kind of polluted, but I do think that the pollution is going away over time. So we're going to be able to actually make something kind of like a desirable area out of this spot. And so right here, we're going to build a healthcare facility because, as you can see, our healthcare system is actually one of the weaker systems in our city. It's one of the weaker services. We have a pretty high demand for it. Definitely at capacity here. And I know I could upgrade this with an extension wing, but you can't do it within the footprint, and I didn't build for that. And I could upgrade to more ambulances, but more ambulances wouldn't really make a difference if we don't have the capacity within the clinic to actually meet that, you know, additional transportation and demand of patients. So it doesn't really make sense to expand this facility. We're going to build a new one since we have a little bit more space. This whole area here is going to be a combination of some waterfront development. I'm going to turn this into kind of a cool little, sort of a little pedestrian friendly community. I know it's not a big area, but I think there's some really cool opportunities here to take advantage of some of the new pocket parks that were part of the new detailing patch. We could take advantage of the urban promenades buildings that we've used over here. I mean, these are absolutely beautiful, and they would do such a great job over in this area. And what I'm really excited about is our new 1-unit pedestrian street. So we're going to upgrade some of these existing alleyways to pedestrian streets. I may even do something a little bit interesting with kind of expanding out the land past, like a little bit past this alley, and we can, you know, past this like street line here. That way we could, you know, maybe make a tree line, an additional pathway, and kind of turn this into a little bit of green space, kind of along the coast. And it might look kind of cool. we'll see. I'll see what ends up happening here with that, but that might be I'll give that some thought, but just putting that out there now. And then in terms of like this main road, this is going to be a mixed area of maybe some apartments, some offices, and some commercial, some low density office and low density commercial. You know, just as you would expect, like a typical main street to be. This will be a little bit more medium density housing, but again, we have this pollution issue, and so we'll see if the housing even develops. Right now, it might not. I might have to wait a little bit to do that. So you know, this could sit vacant for a little bit, but I'm pretty sure we can at least build a healthcare facility on this very polluted ground, which is not great, but it'll go away over time, I'm sure. So nothing really to worry about there. And then, like I said, if we end up having time, there's autosave again, kind of freaked me out, but all good. But if we end up having time, I want to expand out this way, and this is all going to be just some cool residential areas over here, some suburbs, and then right here, I want to build a college. I think it would be really cool to build just a little, and not a university, but a college. So there actually are two different education, higher education, like tiers in this game. So you actually have the college. It provides the first step, and then the highest level of education, you need the university. So these are actually two separate levels of education, and we don't have a college yet. We do have our high school. We do have our grade school. That's like oh my gosh. We need more grade schools too. Oh man. I think that's what's going to go right here then. We might put a grade school over here in this. I've been wondering what to do with this area. So we might put a grade school there. But yeah, so that's the plan. So we'll do a grade school if I can fit one. We'll do a healthcare clinic to increase the capacity for that. Build up this area, build out some suburbs, and then maybe if we have time, we'll build a college. And the reason that I can justify a lot of residential expansion in this build is because our unemployment rate is only 4.4%, which is actually fantastic. We have a high demand for commercial. We have a pretty good demand for industry. And we just built this industrial area in the last episode. So I'm not too worried about industry right now. We'll come back, you know, and maybe expand this out this way and stuff a little bit later on. But for now, yeah, we can really do with some more commercial along here, and definitely some more homes. So I like to kind of fluctuate between, you know, a residential build and then like an industrial kind of workplace focused build. You know, it helps kind of keep things in balance. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the first phase of the project, which will be building our healthcare clinic. So thinking about our healthcare clinic, the first thing I want to think about is money. And in this build, I am so pleased to say that we are still making so much money, and I'm very proud of that. After our first debauchery that we experienced in our first build. But anyway, in terms of the healthcare clinic, you know, we have a few options. The UK one is kind of out of the options for me just because of the price. It's $285,000, and you don't really get much benefit for that price. I mean, that costs like almost 5 times as much as a regular medical clinic, and it doesn't really offer that. It only offers another 50% patient capacity. So it's like, I don't, no. Plus it doesn't really, just stylistically, it doesn't really fit well in this area for kind of what I'm going for. So I'm thinking about something a little more modern. We could do the modern clinic, which is a great option. And the other one I was looking at is the Japanese medical center. And yes, I know it's Japanese, but I think the building style itself looks really perfect for kind of what I'm going for. And the only reason I'm kind of against this modern medical clinic right now is that I used it in an off-camera build, and it kept having issues spawning ambulances. Like they would all get stuck in the parking lot, and they wouldn't actually go and pick up patients unless you relocated the building or like replopped it. You know, if you press relocate and then just put it down in the same spot, it would work. If you also like if you upgraded it, it would work, but you had to like physically interact with the building to have the ambulances actually go out and get patients. And that every time you do that, it costs money in the vanilla game, right? So I don't want to have to rely on constantly replacing this building to get it to function. It could have been just a bug with the map or something weird, but either way, I'm kind of leaning against that right now. So the Japanese medical center, I think I'm leaning towards it, and I think I'm going to build it. And the reason that I'm going to leave this whole area blank is because eventually I imagine that this might become a hospital. And so I want to leave this whole spot kind of as like a hospital campus, and maybe even here too. I may make this just some parking lots and a couple offices for now, and not really do much here in terms of like residential development. That way, if we need even more space for additional amenities, we could have that in the future and not encroach on anybody's homes. So let's actually put this down, and I kind of want to face it. I think we will face it off of the side here. I think it makes a little bit more sense than putting it right on the main road. And like, I like that. I think, you know, if you can ignore the Japanese sign, I think it looks really, really good. It looks like a modern healthcare facility that I would find in my hometown. There are tons of these like prefab buildings going up all over the place by where I grew up. So can't complain there. And then in terms of upgrades, you can get an inpatient ward and you receive intensive care. I wonder what that actually does. Does anything other than just making it cost more? It doesn't say that it comes with any efficiency upgrades, but who knows? We'll save that for a little bit later, but that's cool that it's in the footprint of the building, and I'm happy with this building. I think it looks really good. I think it's gonna do a lot of good for us. So we'll come back and detail this up a little bit later. But I just wanted to get that place down. Now let's go ahead and think about where we're gonna put our elementary school. We definitely need a second one. I did not know that we had 3,000 eligible students. Wow, that's crazy. And this is going to be a good spot for one too, because if you'll notice, the next one's all the way over here, and this is serving the entire Central and East Percussiona. I may even have to place a third one maybe over here at some point, or upgrade, or maybe even put one downtown. I don't know. We'll think about that a little bit later. But at least over here, a school over here would do two things. It would help relieve some of the pressure on the central school, and people maybe from this side can drive just over here and get access to this one. Plus, this would be a great place for everybody that lives in this neighborhood to go to. They could probably walk to it. Everybody that's gonna live over here will be able to get to it. And I'll imagine that I'll put another school probably over here once we develop this little town over here. So this is gonna be just a perfect location for it. In terms of the building, the small one it's too small. I think we could do better than that. I don't like this. We already have this, and it's just such a big asset that I don't want to place it down again. The community one is interesting. I don't know in terms of upgrades. I assume that it has upgrades. And so 300 capacity is not a lot, but if I could upgrade that to a little bit more, that would be pretty sweet. The urban one, it just doesn't, I don't think it fits for this area. It's a little bit too urban. I mean, that just looks like it belongs in a downtown city center, so I really don't want to go for that one. And then I think there is, I thought there was one more. We have the German ones and the French ones. That could be kind of cool if I'm being honest. But honestly, these UK ones, I think these ones are going to be the winners. I mean, look at this suburban primary school just looks so perfect. And I thought it was bigger. It's actually kind of a good size, and I can probably drag this road here and link it, you know, facing like long ways here. That might be a pretty good option for us. And then we could fill this in with some parking and kind of, you know, just detail this up. This area here, this is going to be a train track. If you don't know, if you're new to the build, I use these as kind of placeholders for train tracks for now. Once I figure out what I'm actually going to do, I don't know if I'm going to elevate the train line through here or not, which kind of makes a lot of sense. But, you know, this is a pretty low density area for right now, and we're not building rail yet. So that'll come in a future episode. But just so you're wondering what these random dirt pathways are, they're kind of placeholders for my train lines. For the elementary school, before we place it down, I actually do want to do a little bit of a kind of site preparation here. And so this is nice because it's going to sit on top of a hill, which means flooding is not going to be an issue. So I think I'll grab the highest point here and just kind of level this out. All right, that's going to be pretty nice for now. Let's go ahead and just drag out one of these alleyways here. I would like to do a second connection there if possible, but so we'll see how big this is, if that's even going to be feasible for us. But if oh yeah, that's going to be perfect. Look at that. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I know it's by a train line, but we'll obviously have a tree line that separates the school from the train line, and so hopefully the kids don't get too distracted by the trains coming by. But it kind of is what it is. So I know there was a high school, in Chicago that literally was right next to one of the train lines. So can't really, it is what it is. But let's just go ahead and place this down right now. And this is a primary school. Good. Okay, so that is elementary. Just want to double check. And now we have 2,000 total capacity, and I think the upgrades with this all take place within the footprint, which it does. And so we can get an additional 550 capacity out of this school. Oh man, that's nice. That's really nice. Okay, great. So we got that done. Now I think what we're gonna do is we'll wait to detail this up for a second, but I'm gonna add some parking around here, and maybe if I could just, I know this train track is not in place yet, so I could probably squeeze a road around here and add some additional amenities around here, like maybe a playground or a basketball court or something like that. And again, right next to the train track. In the grand scheme of things, may not be the best option, but at the very least, we'll have, imagine a fence and a tree line to where that wouldn't be a danger to any of the students. So yeah, but I'm happy with the placement of that. I think this is going to do really well there. And now I think with that being done, I think all that's left to do now for this part of the build is to zone out some of the areas along this main road. I'm going to hold out on zoning any residential and stuff here because, again, I think it's still a little bit polluted to do that. But I think we could detail up this healthcare campus. We could detail up this elementary school and kind of get some commercial and office and things zoned around this area. So let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of a time lapse. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. And you know what? I never actually used that surface tool too much, but I like that. I think that adds a nice little cleanliness to the area, although this game is already pretty squeaky clean as is. But yeah, it makes it look like, you know, this is actually part of this facility and it's maintained by these facilities, and you know, I really like that. So, and yeah, I know I deleted my little temporary path here, but I figure we'll redraw that train track and kind of cheat a little bit, make it work for us rather than us working around it. So, oh well, is what it is. But anyway, now, like I said, let's go ahead and do some zoning along this main street here. All right, and so while we're waiting for some of this pollution to kind of still decrease a little bit, I am going to go ahead and kind of keep expanding this area out a little bit. And so we're going to cut, I'm ashamed to say we're going to cut into this forest a little bit here. This is a beautiful spot, but you know, inevitably this does occur. And you know, I want to make this into like a kind of suburban neighborhood. It's going to be nice though. It's going to be a nice area to live, kind of right along the water. With this really scenic kind of hillside right here. And then you can, you know, walk right to the water, and then you'll be right by this future college as well. So I think we'll go kind of up to here with the neighborhood, and just a lot of low density single family homes. I might put some kind of like a higher density area right here, maybe like a little housing project. But then on this side of the road, we're gonna go for some low density suburban style. So let's go ahead and just drag out some roads and drag out some zones and just kind of see what happens. I don't have a super clean idea of what this is going to look like yet, but I just kind of want to follow the landscape and come up with something kind of interesting and nice. All right, so before I zone this area out, I actually want to take a look at our signature buildings and see if there's anything that we could place down that would be... Also, we actually don't even have enough North American... Usually I have one of these by now, but I guess I've been using a lot of the European loaded... Well, we've actually been using a mix, so that's why we probably don't have this yet. But I wonder if I use... I know there was one for the waterfront housing, and I want to see if I could find that one. Yeah, so if I use enough of the waterfront cells, I get these nice estates as well. And I wanted to place one of these down kind of like over here, kind of in this little tucked away area here. And actually this one is not looking too shabby, if I'm being honest. Kind of nice in the countryside. Actually, this one kind of belongs more in the countryside though. I think I would like to put one of these you know, other ones over here. So I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save this area as a special like future development, and we'll just kind of have maybe a road kind of come around just like this, and we'll have it like cul-de-sac at the end of this block, and that'll be just for a future development. We'll have a big house over here, you know, kind of a nice property off the beaten path. I won't zone anything like along this way. This will just kind of stand on its own. Then right here, I might turn this into like a little beach, kind of a little beachside park. It'll be really nice little private beach for this community. But anyway, let's go ahead and just get this zoned out. I think I'm gonna do a mixture of some of the, I might even add some of the European waterfront housing, give a kind of a Mediterranean style over here. This might be a cool community to live, kind of, you know, close to the beach. See some nice homes here, kind of tucked away in this quiet part of town. So we'll go ahead and mix up some of the North American waterfront and some of the European waterfront and see what types of buildings we get. I haven't really experimented too much with the North American ones yet, or with the European ones yet. So we'll see what happens. But also, I've noticed I've had these popping up a little bit. It's like missing props, it looks like, and yeah, kind of annoying. This is, I think, a European building, if I am correct. Yeah, we'll see. Sometimes they go away, sometimes they don't. I don't know. It's kind of goofy, but I've seen those pop up in my builds recently. Ever since we got the detailers patch, there's been some weird things happening with my game. You know, loading into cities has been kind of flaky. Sometimes certain buildings disappear, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I have to go and quit and restart and verify my game files and, you know, do all that. But yeah, we'll see if that gets resolved in the future. But for now, yeah, it's kind of just, you know, a little frustrating sometimes, but not the end of the world. So anyway, back to work. Yeah, this is kind of like exactly what I wanted. We got some nice variety in the houses. I mean, look at that one's kind of like very Mediterranean. Same with this one. I like the European ones actually. They look really nice in this area, and the way that they complement the North American ones. It's nice to have some different building styles. You know, even this one, like it's a really nice house. That's a nice looking asset. I haven't explored these much, and I'm loving the way that this little community is turning out. Very nice way to break up, you know, the big city and kind of drift into more of a suburban area. But yeah, let me just check on this. Yeah, the pollution is still not the greatest, but I think, I don't know, I'm tempted to kind of start developing this and just saying screw it. But on the bright side, we did get the French buildings that I wanted. These are looking fantastic, and I really like these low rent assets. I think they look perfect as kind of, you know, regular North American apartment buildings. You see stuff like this all the time in the States, and this is a great way to put, you know, a lot of people right over here. You know, we're close to the school, we're close to this, going to be close to this nice area over here once we develop this. And you know what, I actually just might, let me just real quick, let me just zone like one zone and see if people get mad. So far so good. They're not complaining, so I think we are good to go ahead and at least develop this area for now. Yeah, that's great. And it looks like this area actually got a little bit less red, unless I'm crazy. But yeah, that's fantastic. All right. Sorry guys, I know you just moved in. We are gonna get rid of you. So what I'm thinking for this area, and this is probably gonna be the last thing that we do in this episode because I am running a little bit, this is taking a little bit longer than I thought, but I'm having such a fun time building this. This is a really great build. So I don't really care, but anyway, I know my episodes have been a little long lately. That's why I'm trying to kind of be conscious of this, but a majority of this episode was kind of tedious detailing anyway, and not a lot of commentary, so hopefully it won't be as long as I'm envisioning in my mind. Yeah, so we will first clear out all of those trees. Can't talk. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna upgrade these roads to the one-way pedestrian street. And as this guy's driving it, I'm gonna upgrade it. So sorry, dude, can't be driving there. And I think I'll probably do something similar here, and we'll just drag this straight through like that. And I think we'll do the, like I said, the urban promenades buildings. I think will look really, really cool here. I kind of want to do something like, almost like, but that's not going to be enough. What if I did something like this? Just bear with me here. What if I did something like, left a little bit of a gap, and that's that's 2 by 2 around. Ooh, this might work. I don't know if there are 3 deep assets for this, but I know there are 2 deep assets, and that means that we can do this. We can do this. Cool. Okay. So I'm trying to take advantage of the parks, the little pocket parks, and I want to make like a little strip of just kind of custom parks along the coastline. And I think that'll look really cool, and it'll be functional. You know, people can have a nice little place to come and eat some lunch or something like that. You know, it'll look really good. So yeah, I'm excited about this build. Okay, so we'll start with some of the urban promenades, and we'll kind of zone this out with the urban promenades. And then I'm thinking we might have a mixture here, at least in this area, of some of the urban promenades. And you know, I actually might get rid of that. We don't need that cross street there. Maybe a mix of like the urban promenades, and honestly, I might just do some regular good old medium density or mixed use housing along here. Maybe the mixed use might be a little bit better along here, kind of along the main road. I think I might stick with the urban promenades here, and then maybe this will turn into some kind of mainly residential focused spot. So yeah, at the very least though, I do have this really cool signature building that I want to put down, and I think it would blend in really well with the urban promenades. We have this medium density Bolter Pines house that I think would look really, really cool. Just, I don't know if it's really a corner lot, but it would look really cool like in between some buildings. So let's do some zoning, see what develops, and we'll go from there. All right. It is now raining again, as it always does in City Skylines 2. But at the very least, we kind of wrapped up this area, and I'm actually really, really happy with how this turned out. I know we don't have key walls, and key walls in the vanilla game are really, really difficult to build, and so I'm not even going to attempt to do it for my own sanity. I think from a distance, like, it's fine, right? So, whatever. But yeah, you know, we had some fun kind of with some of the props. I'm doing a little bit of light detailing, throwing down some tables, some trees, some different objects and things, you know, planters and all that. And then I kind of filled in some of these spaces with some of the pocket parks. Like there's one, you know, there's a couple over here. There's one. We put the signature building here, which I really, really like. I think that fit in better there than I thought it would, to be honest with you. And yeah, and then in the back here, I just have some, you know, regular housing going up. I snuck in this parking garage kind of behind these mixed use buildings. So like if you're looking from the street, you don't really see that right away. And I think it's helpful to have this because this, you know what, actually I'm going to charge a fee for that. Parking fee for a parking garage. That makes sense. I like that. Yeah, I did take away some of the street parking here just for the sake of, you know, beautification. So whatever. I don't always like street parking. I know it's necessary, but I'd rather not have it if we could avoid it. Here, I don't know what I'm going to do about street parking yet. I might get rid of it. I might keep it. It depends on kind of how this area develops, and I might have to throw down a couple of more parking lots for that to actually make sense. But you know what? Actually, why don't I do that now? I'm going to throw one. I know I have this zone for commercial, but for right now, I think it makes sense to actually throw some kind of parking lot there because we really don't have a lot of parking in this area. There's a couple of tiny lots spotted around, but there's really not a good place for a lot of cars. So let me see if I can find one that fits right here. I should be able to find like maybe one of these. I know the small one's too big. One of the medium ones would fit. No, that's too big too. I could sneak one of these solar panel covered ones in here. I don't think it has a ton of spaces. Let me just put it down and see how many spaces are actually in here. That's a fair amount. I'm not completely opposed to that, to be honest with you. Well, oh, but it's off of a pedestrian street. Oh man, sometimes I amaze myself with my stupidity. Let's do something. Oh, I guess so is this gas station, so that really doesn't help. Let's see if I can do something to kind of like maybe make it. There we go. That'll work. That'll work. Nice. Okay. We can live with that. And then for this, we'll dezone this, and then we'll just turn this into maybe some trees along here. Or you know what? I'll just run this pathway straight through here. And I don't know why I was having some trouble zoning, like having this zone go back all the way. Probably because this is you know what I actually might do? Do this instead. We have two gas stations. We have so many gas stations here. I might just rezone this as low density commercial. And then I'll let that develop a little bit more. And that should be something a little bit nicer. Yeah, this one, you know what? I'll also charge people to park in this one because it's a nice lot. And usually in these downtown areas, you figure people might actually be willing to pay for parking. So we can live with that. I can justify that for now. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna have time in this episode to get the rest of this area detailed up and move on to over here. So that's gonna be next episode. I think we'll probably just do a big project, just really put our nose to the grindstone and build out this entire area. I envision kind of like a small town over here, like a small beachside town. I have some ideas about what I want to do. I think it'll be really, really cool. And I'm really excited to kind of get this whole area filled out, and then we can move on to some other bigger projects, mainly some industry. So again, just real quick before we end, our unemployment rate is currently at 6.5. It was at 8 just a second ago, so it's kind of fluctuating a little bit. And I imagine that that's going to be, you know, kind of an issue for us in the near future. So I want to think about not the next episode, but the episode after, probably doing some industrial expansion. And I'm thinking that we're going to have to probably go out here and do some industry And then I want to actually purchase some tiles and start doing some farmland out this way. So maybe the next project is going to be some industrial over here and then farmland. And then I also envision that the rail depot is going to go over here somewhere. So maybe we can loop some of those projects together and start getting our rail infrastructure in place. But yeah, I really enjoyed this build. This is a lot of fun, and expect, you know, quite a few City Skylines videos in the coming weeks, as I'm really, really enjoying this and kind of, you know, still learning the game, but also, you know, taking advantage of some of the new updates and stuff. And this healthcare clinic is looking great. The school is at capacity already. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. That's crazy. But we're making $1 million bucks. So how about that? And why are people mad? Oh, we don't have internet. Okay. Yeah, I got to get them some internet. But we got $1 million bucks. We got no loans. We're making 500,000. I could not be happier with the budget. So we have some money to spend, and trust me, we need to spend some money. Even we have some car accidents. We have some traffic jams. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could be doing better in the city, but we'll, you know, spend some time on these throughout the episodes. And that's kind of the part of, you know, part of the game is chipping away at little things here and there. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed this build, and I hope that you did too. Please like if you feel so obliged, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment if you have any ideas of what I can do to improve this build, or, you know, if you have any ideas for a future build, and name suggestions too. Always welcome. So thank you guys so much for the support. I read all your comments. I love the kind words. It means so much. And the criticisms as well. You know, I'm still learning the game, so anything helps. But in the meantime, hope you all have a great rest of your week. Hope you're having a great start to 2025, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace out.